Taiwan's legislature is once again at a standstill as controversial legislative reform bills go in for the third and final reading. The bills have caused widespread protests from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party within the legislature. Tiffany Wong is following this story for us from the legislative building. Tiffany, what's going on the floor today?
Well, it's another hectic day here in Taiwan's legislature as lawmakers from the Democratic Progressive Party attempt to prevent these controversial legislative reform bills from passing. Now, the Kuomintang and Taiwan People's Party are trying to use their combined majority to push through with business as usual and get this bill through its third and final reading. Now, if passed, these bills would expand the legislature's oversight of the executive branch. And the DPP has been calling this process and the bills themselves as black box, even comparing them to the sunflower movement 10 years ago when KMT legislators tried to pass a bill that would have allowed Taiwan to increase trade ties with China. Now, earlier we spoke with a DPP legislator who had this warning.
The sunflower movement in the past resulted from procedural issues, prompting many people to stand up. We should avoid repeating those mistakes. The KMT should be well aware of the cost we ultimately paid.
But the KMT says that they are following standard procedures and that the DPP actually used these same tactics to pass another bill in the past when they had a legislative majority. And they're also pointing out that their camp plus the Taiwan People's Party earned a majority of the votes when combined in the election earlier this year. And so therefore, they actually represent a majority of public opinion, whether the DPP likes it or not.
So what has been the response to all this? What happens if the law passes?
Well, there have been protests around the country led by civic groups as well as legal scholars and academics, and they've become collectively known as the Bluebird Movement. And here in Taipei, people are already gathering outside the Legislative Yuan. By the organizers' last count, it was 5,000 people. Now, last Friday, they also had a huge crowd of 100,000 people, and we're expecting to see a lot more come out once they get off work and school later in the day. Now, the DPP has said that if this bill passes, they will pursue constitutional interpretation in an attempt to block it from going into effect. But this clearly marks the start of a rough 4 years in office for DPP President Lai Ching-te, who faces not just one, but two unprecedented challenges, including maintaining the popularity of his party for a third term and winning over a divided legislature.